Hi, Chris Newman here on the truth and consequences of what we say, what we think, and what we do. I've had some interesting responses to a previous few of my videos on my use of the Bible. And one person stated that the Bible is a religion. That's a sad comment. And other people have made comments about the Bible which they feel they hate it, or they feel it's very nasty and judgmental, and they use these sort of woke words around it. My first question: how many of these folk have ever read the book from cover to cover and understood what they were reading and got into the subject matter? Bible is not a religion. The word Bible is from biblios, which means a book, and it's called a book or the book because it's one of the most powerful cultural artifacts in the West and possibly in the East. Let me go over that and explain to you in very simple terms, because I don't use academic approaches in my work. I'm more common sense. I'm not using an academic analysis or an attempting to give you some cut and dried theological idea. I just want to talk about the book as I've read it. I've possibly read it through, I haven't counted, but cover to cover maybe 30 times or more over my life. And some of you want to call me an old man. Well, you can say that, but I can probably still outrun you. And if you were my age, let's have a face-to-face. We'll see how we go. Okay, so let's get on with the Bible. This is rough, but within the bullseye. Written from about 1500 BC to about 90 AD. Wow. A lot of books with many authors who have contributed to little books or chapters or sections of it. For example, we've got Moses, the great Israelite leader. There's been prophets, their names are in the Bible: Elijah, Isaiah. Their names are all accredited, and we do have information on them from the historical archives, possibly from other outside groups, from Egypt or Syria or Persia, whatever. Kings, sages, apostles, a lot of different folk over time contributed to the Bible. Oh, I have to make a comment. The Bible can't be a Christian book, because if it was written from 1500 BC to 90 AD, it encompassed a much broader, longer period of history than early Christianity, even though it does have Christian information in it. Okay, it's a chronicle of events recorded in that period, but it records them symbolically, in images, and in actuality. I'll give you an example. The Bible symbolically talks about a tree of life. And the tree of life refers to a human being. Actually, the tree's a symbol for a person. And then there's an image. You've got the image of Adam and Eve, the first man and woman. That's an image. And then you have an actuality, and I'm thinking of one, for example, is the epistle writer called Paul. And we know he was a Jewish Roman, and he lived in specific areas, and he did journeys around the Mediterranean, and he probably ended his life in Rome as a possibly killed by a Roman sword, you know. Anyway, the point is, that's the substance of it. The image of it's there, and the symbol of it is there. It's written, in other words, in a much more comprehensive way than just simple newspaper reporting. There's a lot more depth in there. Now, the topics. We can bring it down to 3 core areas. That's what I've discovered. The ideal, which is about God's ideal for humankind, living in his creation, in relationships with each other based on his original standard of value. What could be more realistic than that? The fall, which explains the breakdown of trust, the introduction of deceit, the loss of faith, and the advent of misery and sadness in human relationships, human failure, betrayal. And then, because that was not put in at the ideal in the original model, the fall is a twist in the fabric of relationships. And then the history of a restoration, which is about God working with us, or human attempts to develop and elevate ourselves from levels of slaves through back to the level of free men and women, which you might say at the beginning is God's family image, his son and daughter. Pretty simple. Those are the three aspects. The history of restoration is the long drawn out part of the Bible. The ideal is the first few pages, though it's always coming through. The ideal is always coming through all the way. And the fall is explained in so many ways, psychologically, politically, culturally, relationship-wise, in terms of thinking and philosophy. There's many, many aspects. After all, if you're going to have authors who are men and women who are totally qualified to express from their period, their mature and their insight and their understanding, you're bringing in a great resource from all angles of the compass. Not just what you might think of as Jewish people. We've got people who are raised in Egypt, we've got people who are herders, who are agriculturalists, who are involved in politics. There's a whole range, military men and women, a whole range of characters. Now, we're talking about characters here, there we go. The men, women, children, families, societies, nation. It even has this kind of cosmic dream at the end, which is like a sci-fi movie. Woo. We call that the apocalypse. Now, there are other characters in there. There's God, the creator God, Yahweh. Angels, we can name a few of the angels. Gabriel, Michael, Lucifer. Then we have demons and other entities. And so the Bible even mentions the entities that were worshipped by some of the people around the area where Israel is now, the Canaanites we call them, and there's a whole lot of other names. Gods like Baal, Moloch, ancient demon type gods that demanded human sacrifice. Fascinating. And then there is the spirits of men and women. For example, at one story, Jesus is having a conversation with the spirit man of Moses and Elijah. Very interesting. Right. There are other aspects in the Bible which are fascinating to modern people about creation, about the environment, about animals, plants, water and mountains. The whole of ecology is embraced in the Bible story. Now, we also have to look at, someone said, oh, the Bible's religious. No, it describes the religions of that period. Animism, idolatry, paganism, primitive Judaism, primitive Christianity, apocalyptic visions. Man, it's like a compendium. If you want to know about world religion, it's right there in the Bible. The Bible ain't a religion, but during this period, humans went through a lot of experimentation and development in their understanding of how to relate to each other and to the universe. So I'm saying that, therefore, the Bible is not theology. However, there are some writers in the Bible who give it a go, like Paul has a bash at theology. So does John's Gospel. Religion. The Bible is not religion, but it touches most aspects. It talks about worship and sacrifice and honour, and also pagan religion. Very interesting, if you want to learn more. Culture. Wow, many cultures are mentioned, from Babylon right through. Roman Empire, Persian Empire, the Assyrians. If you want to learn about empires, wow, this is better than any Hollywood production, though I would recommend the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston. And then philosophy. Now, we've got aspects of philosophy and science. Greek philosophy, science meaning understanding the world around us. Some very penetrating observations. So many aspects, and then there is the law. And I will touch upon the law in another video. That is a powerful subject, and the development of the law is brought to us through the Bible. You can study the early roots of the law. Amazing. So all in all, we're dealing with a tremendous cultural, psychological, historical resource which has heaven and earth. It has all of us in it, and all these different features I've listed on the board are just sort of like an overview, a skimming across what's there. So I urge you all to give it a go, be brave, step up to the bat, have a look, read for yourself, but it would be very foolish to throw the thing away or to disparage it without even knowing this sort of information. Obviously I'm a bit enthusiastic, maybe more than a bit, but then I have made the effort and used the Bible to educate myself in many, many other aspects of human life. Thank you for this. I hope that my enthusiasm spreads to you. Some of you may know a lot more than me, but really important in this study is the heart of God, the heart of parents reunited with children, and the noblest features of humankind. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you the very best in your studies.